Hello and welcome back to another lap go video. My name's Bart and today we'll be taking the Super Formula Lights car on iRacing around the Hockenheimring GP circuit. Here's my hot lap. Turn one in this car, very high speed. It's pretty much, I mean, this is on medium downforce package, so nothing insane. But still, it's almost flat, right? When I was playing with downforce levels a bit, I think if you've got it about right, you shouldn't be able to take it flat. But if you cranked up the wing, you definitely could. Main thing here, make sure you're using all of this beautiful little bit of entry curbing. Watch out on the end of it because it's very easy here to turn a bit late, drop off the end of that curb, and there's a bit of a bump, and then I can unsell the car a bit. So main thing, use this entry curb on the way into the corner. Make sure you're looking here. Don't look here. We don't want to hit this orange curb. We're not a GT car. We don't need to hit it to turn the car, rotate, or whatever. I mean, it might make you feel like a hero, but it's not winning you any lap time, so don't do that. Just aim for the flat curb right there, and then we're going to make sure we don't run too wide on the exit and get that off track. So you can see it turning in pretty flat out and then lifting just as I go towards the apex now. Try and get as close to that inside curve as possible, like that. Now looking up for the exit, make sure we don't run the car. You can only run, I think it's maximum half a car over the curb, so this is pretty much the limit here. Very easy once you get your wheels off to get dragged a bit further, so watch out. Just the way the shape of this curve is, but you just want it like this, where your left tires are off and your right tires are still on, pretty much, for this curve here, and then bring it back over so you're not. See this white line kind of works as an extension of the track, and you don't want to hang out here for too long. So watch out for that. But yeah, basically just a lift through there, not too much going on. So turn two, really interesting kind of hairpinny corner. This down to second gear. It's not a corner where sometimes a low corners you feel like, oh, you're really going to be hustling the car and moving about on the limit. This corner can kind of trick you with that. You can kind of be pushing the car and lose a lot of time. By that I mean you've got to really focus on making sure you're finding time in the right ways here. So braking wise, for me, pretty much just 100 ball is a pretty good reference, or just before it where the service road is. Down to second gear, really focusing on a straight line braking phase. You really want to get that feeling of cutting back here, so rather than having an early apex ending up wide, you want to kind of cut back on this curb. So keep it tight there, on throttle. At that point, let the car run out. Like if you're in a GT car, we'd probably need to hold it a bit tighter to the right to open up that exit and the car be forced out to the left. In a single seat like this, really important, the main thing is to be able to get this phase right here, which is my early throttle pickup, and be able to get the lock off early. So I can get the lock off early, get up to speed, and then this left is pretty easy corner for us in the F3 car. So we can just kind of hold it into the left-hander now, use the, just run your left tires inside this curb, and then just hold it to the left. I'm not scrubbing the wheel like crazy, right? Okay, you could take the extra meters, but honestly in this car it's quite easy to just hold constant lock on, bring the car over to the left, and it should be fine. Like I said, it's more important to get that initial throttle. It's not going to feel like, oh, it's on the edge, and oh, I'm being forced out to the right-hand exit curve. It's not really like that. So just keep that in mind. It's the main two things I'd say is you gain a lot of time. How late can you get that brake? When can you get on the throttle early and get that lock off? It shouldn't be on the throttle early and then drifting. No, it should be nice. Put the power down smoothly. And then through that left, you don't want to feel like the car's scrubbing too much. So you can feel in the wheel when it's got a lot of resistance. You're going to slide in the car around. It should be smooth through that left. All right, into the hairpin now. Not too complicated. It's just a very regulation hairpin. A few bumps in the braking zone, but apart from that, very standardized. Braking for me, I don't really like using the entry curb here. I know some people do, but not for me. Braking pretty much exactly at the 100-meter board. Look into the corner now, so you can see there's a change of target here. This is where you can get some bumps. So you'll see I might come out of the brake, modulate the brake a little bit, but for the most part, holding a lot of pressure, 89% brake pressure, straight line braking. Turn in after the last board, release the brake, get that rotation. You don't really want to hit the inside curb here. If you hit the inside curb, you've gone in a little bit early. I'd argue on this lap, I'm actually fractionally early as well. I would rather be a little bit deeper than a little bit too tight. I know some cars on iRacing, you clip the curb and it really helps it rotate here. I feel like in this car, that's not really the case. I'd rather, not that it doesn't help you rotate, I just don't think it's a big gain. Like I'd rather be pushing the braking and get a cleaner bit of rotation by going a bit deeper and not having to turn out. That's the worst thing. If you brake early, you have to turn in, then turn out because you're going to hit the inside curb. That's when you got issues. But this car I found is quite understeery in this corner, so be aware of that. Get it rotated on the throttle. Now this is where it can snap quite easily again because I thought there's a lot of rotation. Oh, sorry, a lack of rotation in the middle of the corner. You're going to have a lot of lock on, and that's going to mean you get on the throttle. And we get a bit of a slide on exit. So just watch this here. Watch how I'm on the throttle. And as soon as I can hear the turbo spooling, power coming on. Whoa. Okay, so now I need to get the lock off. You see that quick movement on the wheel? As soon as I get to full, I need to be going to get rid of the steering lock. Use the exit curb. Don't run up on the sausage curb. It's not a nice thing to do in this car. Smooth through here. We don't need to really hit that curb aggressively, so please don't do that. Turn in late. Get the angle over to the right. Use all the track here. Make sure your right-hand side tires are on the white line. Braking for the arena section pretty much just before this service road bit area on the right. Looking to apex around here. Off the brake. Down to third gear. Be careful with when you come off it's very easy to lock up here. It's about making sure, look how much I bleed off the brake pressure as I turn into the left, bleed off. You can roll a lot of speed in this car. In a lot of cars, it's a very slow corner, but in this car, roll a lot of speed and brake late. You can carry a lot of speed. You don't need to get it tucked in and turned around that way. You can get on the throttle pointing that way because the next bit's so easy for this car to achieve flat out. So watch this. Get on the throttle nice and early. The car's going to go out to the right. That's fine. Let it go out. Let it put the power down. Again, carrying that third gear really helps carry the momentum for that left apex. Bring the car to the left. This should just be smooth in the steering. Don't need to go inside the curb there. Just be smooth. Easy, right? Okay, to the final sector now. Really fun part of the track. So the first bit, similar speed, similar technique to turn one, just a little bit longer. Lifting, again, pretty much you're going to turn in at full throttle and then just start to lift out as you go towards the apex here. Can't lift. If you can, always keep some throttle on. That'll just help keep the speed up, help stabilize the car. You just want to nibble the curb, really, the white line. For me, I know some people are going to definitely try and go, oh, I'm going to take all the curb and hook it around this curb. And for me, in a single seat like this, if the car's rotating well enough, you shouldn't need. This curb's just going to bounce you off a bit and upset that rhythm. I'd rather just carry speed, get into the camber here in the white line. That should be fine. If you've got enough rotation in your car, get it turned in, make it to the white line. As soon as you get to that white line, you pretty much know, okay, I'm here now. I can get to the throttle. Look up for that exit. Let the car run off. Not as wide as you would in a GT, where you've got the car hanging out all the way out here. This car gets very affected by touching the gravel because it's not very heavy. So just watch out for that. So you can see I'm about half the car off, whereas, you know, I think there's some GT cars, you have like your right tyre here. So just be aware of that. Run it a bit off, quickly bring it back to the right-hand side of the track. Braking for Sachs curve now. So reference is pretty much the 50-meter board at the start of the curbing is pretty good. Judging that right there. Smooth into the brakes, not too hard here, very easy to lock up. There's a bit of a change in surface and a few bumps in this braking zone, so just watch out for that. Down to third gear, but quite a late gear change. You can see I won't change to third until I'm at the end of that entry curbing there. And I'm looking to apex here. I think the biggest problem people have is they try to apex early or run in deep. Well, they're trying to apex quite far around, so not till there. We'll get inside the camber, down to third gear. As soon as you get to the inside, on the throttle, force the car out wide, use all the track here, so as long as your left tire's on the blue and white, you're okay. Really watch out there. An easy thing to do is just brake too early and then think, oh, okay, if I'm braking early because I feel like I'm apexing too early, I'm dropping to the bottom of the banking too early, I need to brake later now. And then you feel like, oh, I can't brake later because I keep locking up. That's because, that inside tire, as soon as you go into the camber, is very unloaded. So it's going to be very easy to lock up because you've got no grip there. And you're also turning at the same time. So really try and push the brake and be patient on turning in. And then when you turn in, really try and release the brake and carry the speed in. Just try and get that those two phases of the corner right. Keep the car to the left. Don't cut the curb or just upset the car. You're aiming to get the car to the white line here, and then we're looking around to meet the white line. The inside here very late. Just a very small brake, okay? You definitely need to brake here, but only very small. And this is not really... It's not just a brake where you're stopping the car. It's just help rotate the car a bit. Downhill, the track's going to kind of go away from you here. And a small brake, help it get rotated. Just hold fourth. See, a small brake just to bring it to the white line. Just try and get to the white line. The later you can, the better. And then this kind of section all comes together. Even though it's two corners, it kind of comes together as one corner, is the way I like to think of it. To being as late as possible through here. This looks a little bit more obvious on the data, so I'll give you a look at that. All right, so now we're going to have a little look at the last corner here. So what we can see is, well, I say last corner, last two corners, but you can see the way the speed trace is, it looks like one corner, which is what I was saying. Is what we really want to do here is, even though, okay, look, it's two turns, it's pretty obviously two turns. Trust me, when you walk up to the track in real life, it's two corners. But if you can make it as much one corner as possible, the better that is, right? We only really want to stop once. We don't want to stop and then go and stop again. So with that in mind, and this is true for any car, but you can achieve this really nicely in a car like this because it's got so much downforce. Is try and be as late as possible with where your minimum speed, which is your slowest point to the corner. So have that arrive as late as possible in the first right. I think I remember talking about this a bit at Jerez, actually. There's a double right there. Similar here. So you can see, normally, if this was my slowest point in a corner, if we just look at this second last corner, it's kind of a 90 right, maybe slightly tighter, but then you've got the downhill and the uphill, so it's got a bit more to it than that. But just that type of corner, if my slowest point was here, and there was a long straight afterwards, normally you'd think, who is this guy? He can't drive. It's stupid. But in this scenario, it's relevant because if I slowed the car down, I don't know, here, as an example, so on the entry somewhere, and got on throttle like I would if it was a normal corner, not having a corner straight after it, that would be correct. I'd be able to get on the throttle much earlier, I get a much better exit, I gain a lot, right? But if I do that here, I get on the throttle, I now have to brake again, and then you'd slow down again for the next corner. Especially in a car like this, braking again, that's a lot of drag, you're slowing the car down a lot. You don't need to have that. So the best thing to do, like I said, is try and make it as much one corner as possible. So the idea is, one, you're going to gain on the entry into here, and two, you're going to make life easier here. You don't have to slow down as much between the two corners, and it's going to help your exit out of here. So with this philosophy, so just treating it as one big corner, right, with your minimum speed, as I said, coming here, slowest points around here, and this is all exit phase, okay? A little bit of kink in the exit, basically. So with that in mind, we're on the brakes quite lightly. Here's our braking. As I said, quite light brake here, just getting it turned in and forth, managing the brake pressure, very easy to lock up, or unsettle the car, I found as well, turning very aggressively. You've got to be quite smooth on the steering because it's going to suddenly bite because you're going downhill and you're like, oh, it's not turning, and then you turn a bit more as you go uphill and it just turns in. So just be careful of that as well. You can be very, very smooth in the steering. Let the car go out. Pick up throttle pretty much as soon as you reach that inside white line. You're gonna be able to pick up the throttle. You can see I pick up straight to 50-60%, basically all the, let's call it all the lag in the throttle, all the bit where there's not really that much power, not much torque from the engine. So straight away get rid of that. Straight onto the throttle there, just managing the throttle, force the car out to the left, and then you see I'm not quite getting to full because I need the car to turn in here. So I'm just managing the car on the limit of the tire, just being smooth with my steering because I'm currently trying to also no more brake, but just trying to rotate it in. So you can see 20%, got a bit more lock on. Now coming off the lock, I straighten up here and then I turn in again, smooth on the steering again. So really important here, we treat it like how are we really going to carry speed into here? So you'll be forced to be up throttle later and you cannot get to full. See, I can't get to full between the two. If I stop the car much more with the brakes, which I could have, I would have got to full a lot earlier, but I would have had to slow down again. And this is much better if you do it like this. Much simpler, much smoother, and much faster. Now that we've seen the data, we know how we want our minimum speed to be and how we want to treat this corner, right? So really important in terms of track usage, going all the way up to the red curb there. If you run over it in this, it will upset the car a bit. Watch out for that. And then curb usage for me, you can just about dip a tire inside, borderline. Ideally, I think right tire using all the blue and white is about right in a single seater. Look up, use all the exit curve. Really important again. Look at the track usage you can get away with here. Keep it on the left, and that's a lap at Hockenheim. So that brings us towards the end of the video then. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And you can also check out a link to the Coach Dave Academy Discord in the YouTube video description, where you find more information on setups, hot laps, and lap guides like this one. My name's Bart. I hope you enjoyed the video. Enjoy the rest of your season. See ya.